plug it into the box. You have the cable?
Got it.
That's why I need
Okay.
this.
Thank you. So they let us carry it. We just have to sign a waiver. So we're going to get. You can't help, but son shouldn't help, but the grandkids can help, and any other friends and relatives. It's more respectful that way. So we'll just get. I think 6 men should do it. 6 guys should do it. Yeah, young guys here. Yeah, 6 young guys will do it. That's fine. Right. Okay. Perfect. Oops, so this means-
My mom died in freezing cold, and my father died in the summer. He loved
Really?
the heat, and she loved the cold.
Okay. Guess they know what they're doing. They time it well.
Did a lot of the body from New Jersey, Castle,
Sure.
Clark,
That's right. That's great.
Rebbe could look and see what's going on.
Right, exactly.
Since it's passing.
Right. Right. Thank God.
I would.
Yes, I did. Yeah. Hi, can I invite you to help carry the casket? We're gonna need 6 guys. You know, maybe Adam. Adam, do you want to help me choose 5 others? We got 5 more. Okay. You're just gonna sign over here. Everyone was carrying us to sign waiver. So we're carrying the casket, so whoever's carrying has to sign the waiver.
Only because they're all lawyers, right?
So Adam's going to choose 6 young men. It's fine. Okay. Please say, just sign over here.
So, how many does Adam?
This will be number 3 now. He's sending a few more, I think.
No, my friends.
Good.
Adam, what do you have?
Okay, want to sign over here?
In front of that camera.
Who else is carrying? Okay. So you're going to sign over here when he's done. Just sign over here. Okay. All right. Okay, right over here. One more. And have we got one last pallbearer, one person to carry? Want to help carry the casket?
Oh,
Adam's
yes,
again.
yes.
Okay, I'll find it. One more, yeah. One more young, strong.
Well, right next to my father. That one. They're that one. Yes. I didn't see the stone.
Okay.
It's
You can get one of the boys.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Okay.
actually, seriously, look where actually the filmmaker can show you. Actually, the near the camera.
Perfect.
My
Thank you
father
for
is
waiting.
in here. It's right there.
Come. Get you to sign over
Right
here,
next
okay?
to it.
Thank you. What's your name? From where? Yeah, that's okay, fine.
That's right there.
Okay, where are you from?
Yes. Oh, I
Very nice.
see.
Beautiful. Okay.
Yes.
Tracy, I'm assuming you're ready?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Soon as you're
So whoever the casket, you can come close to the rest, please. 6 guys at least. Yeah, for sure. You can shop. Those were the custom for a daughter and a son not to do it, but you're definitely welcome to it. Okay. So whenever Okay, you want us to do it or you want to fight it out? I guess very rough. Okay, you got to come right closer to the side. watch your fingers. Just pass it back from one person to the next. Yep. Right, that's on wheels. As it comes back, yep. Just watch the rollers with your fingers. There you go. We're gonna carry it all the way. Don't put it down. We're gonna carry it all the way. You don't mind. Yeah, just bring it around in the way. And you bring it through this way over here. And this way now. This way. This way. We're all gonna follow behind. Just watch the step over here. And there's a pathway down here. Just follow the pathway all the way down. Please follow behind. Yeah, you should be Stacey L. The ambulance shot at line and I'm not in a mass and stuff left to make yourself and pack up with that voice. But Rossi, yourself, lock, Masaka, Turks, after seeing the enemies. The Schlummershon Terracat and Nelson on the Himalaya down the path, I believe, is the quickest way. I think, can you fit through there? It's straight down there. Himalaya, if you smoke and Kodrek, yeah, you should say the island, so shot this line on. I'm on the mountain, so I have to lock yourself and back up. So they're swinging around, correct? This side and first?
Which one's the feet?
I think this is the feet, right?
Yes, the feet goes that way.
Right on. Which side's the feet? That's the feet? You have to swing it around, so you're going to go in first. Okay, you're going to back it up, and you're going to have to get onto the wood, both sides. So one of you on one side. You have to be on one side. So choose a side. Choose which. There you go. And you can walk along both sides. One of you on the other side. Have to go on the board. Keep moving on. Move along the board.
On that side, everybody. Over there.
On the wood. There you go.
Everybody going.
Slowly lower it. You got it. You got it. Yeah, that's right.
Whoever's going to speak, can you just give him this?
Yes.
Tell him to speak to this.
Okay.
Okay. You could keep
It's
it
on?
Keep it here. It's on. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll just keep it here, but whoever's going to speak, just give him that time to speak to that.
Got it.
Or else nobody in the live stream is going to.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I have. Yeah. One of the things that I've discovered is that it's never easy to say goodbye. No matter how long of a life a person has lived, it's always difficult for the family and friends to gather and say our farewell. And it's for this reason that it's customary to make a blessing and to tear kriya. We tear a garment as a sign of mourning. It's a difficult loss. Every loss is a difficult loss, especially with someone we loved so dearly. And that's why we tear a garment as a sign of respect, that this is a true loss, and we move on with mourning, with a broken heart. At the same time, we tear a garment which is external. Apparently, in ancient days, biblical days, people would actually gash themselves after losing a loved one. And the Torah came along and said, we don't gash ourselves because the loss is not really a real loss. The soul lives on. It's only a physical loss. We say goodbye physically, but the emotions, the love, the connections always remain. And therefore we cut a garment which is more external. We don't cut ourselves. With that in mind, we're going to make the blessing on the tearing of the garments. The blessing is Dayan Ha'emet, where we accept God's judgment. Even though we don't understand God's ways, we accept His ways. Tracy, you're going to do the scarf that we're going to tear, and we'll make the blessing together. So I'll just start it a little bit, and your mitzvah is to try and cut it with your hand if you can. Once I cut it a little bit. Okay, you're going to tell Adam ready? Not yet, we'll do it together, so we make the bracha together. 1 second. And when I'm ready, will you do the shirt? Okay. And we'll see if you can, this is a bit good quality shirt, so that doesn't tear as easily. Hopefully you can tear it some more after that, okay? I'll pass the seam for you. Okay, so now you're going to tear it with your hand, make the blessing together, and you'll tear. Baruch, Atah, Adonai, Eloheinu, Melech, Ha'olam, Dayan, Ha'emet. See if you can tear it with your hand. A little bit. There you go, perfect. Thank you. We begin with a prayer from the book of Psalms, prayer number 23, chapter Chaf Gimel. I'll read it first in Hebrew, followed by the English. Mizmal David Adeni Roy Leachsar bin Histeshi Abitseni Am Menuchis na Leni Nafshi Shevi Ancheni Bemagni Sedik Laman Shemoy Gam Kielech Begeis Amavis Lo Yira Ki Atem Modi Shiv Tchomi Shantech Ahimi Nachamoni Tarich Lefan Eshuch Negat Soiroi Dishante Veshem Reishi Kristi Virvayai Achte Veches Idifoni Koli Mechayoi Veshavti Viveis Adinoi Lierech Yamim. A psalm by David. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He revives my soul. He directs me in the paths of righteousness for the sake of His name. Even if I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they will comfort me. You will prepare a table before my enemies. You have anointed my head with oil. My cup is full. Only goodness and kindness shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord for many long years. So I once saw a magnet in someone's refrigerator that grandchildren are the reward for not killing our children. So if that's the case when it comes to grandchildren, much more so great-grandchildren, I see someone has some words prepared. So what we'll do is we're going to start from the youngest up, and we'll invite Adele's great-grandchildren to share a few words, followed by any grandchildren to share a few words, and her children, and if anyone else would like to share a few words. Okay, so would you like to go first? I'm just going to give you this. I was instructed you to talk this as if you're holding a microphone. Mm-hmm. Everyone can hear you all over the world, okay? Go ahead.
Hi, my name's Tani. I am Adele, or Gigi's great-grandson. And she was a very special lady. I just wanted to say that my great-grandma was awesome, amazing, grateful, kind, loving, generous, and top-notch. The best in every way. She always made the effort to be at a family event, and she was very wise and loved to play piano, and made the best egg salad and tuna you have ever eaten. She always had a good heart in every step she took. She was a mitzvah lady, and she had a bunch of stories to share with us. May Hashem have an aliyah, lots of love, Tani Wolf.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you. Are there any great-grandchildren, other great-grandchildren who are talking today? Okay, so if any grandchildren, we're working our way up, any grandchildren want to share a couple of words? No? Okay. So Tracy? Yes. Okay. Take the mic. You can hold it. She mentions to hold like a microphone, so you're okay with that?
Yeah, it's okay. Okay. So actually back to my singing days, right? Back with the microphone. So before I say anything about my mother, on behalf of my brother and all the Schneiders, we really thank you for being here. It's cold. And for those of you that are online, this is definitely quite the experience of live streaming. But my mother, the technology queen, would really have appreciated this. So to her brother Neil in Florida with Danny, we miss you. Cousins Colleen and the rest of the Donovans that are in North Carolina. We think there are some Fosters in California, and we have some folks in Israel, and we wish them peace and safety as well. So it looks a little long, but I'm old. I needed it a little bit bigger font. So I'm just going to read you, but again, on behalf of our family, we are so grateful that you're here. My mother lived almost 100 years. So she knows all of you as you know all of us in very different contexts. So it is a tribute to everyone who's here that we are together. So this is on behalf of myself. My brother will read on behalf of himself. But again, this is a shared experience for us all, and forever grateful. Depending on the context that you knew my mother, there are many things you probably don't know about her, since in essence, she was a very private person. It was just really since my father Noel's passing in 2005 that I got to know her as a person and not just as my mother. Her fierce loyalty to her family, her deep compassion to the greater good, her dedication to social equity, her intellectual curiosity, her unique sense of humor, her ability to be so flexible about certain things yet compulsive about others, like making sure that all the hangers in the closet were in the same direction and the same kind. But also for her strength, especially in times of adversity. And most importantly, for what many of you don't know, how quiet her world really was. My mother's playful side was not evident often, yet for the 16 years that my family had our wonderful basset hound, Duffy, and for those of you who didn't remember him, and I know many of you don't love him, he was very lovable. Her lunch hours consisted of quick walks home from her job at Kingsborough to make sure he was let out and to chase him around the kitchen. And the house was very small, trust me, that their chasing around that kitchen didn't take a lot of steps. You wouldn't know that she made the trip to Manhattan to meet me at a PETA rally in front of the Revlon building to march in protest, to rally to tell them that not to test bunnies for cosmetics on the bunnies' eyes. And she was walking behind the dachshund that had a placard that said, "Please don't hurt my friends." You wouldn't know that a 5-day stay at the Concord, but we went for a tennis junket after I stayed with my grandmother, after she had brain surgery, and after 2 weeks with my grandmother, I was ready to be committed. We went to the Concord in the winter to play tennis. And of course, I can't do this. Oh, here we go. And while we were there, we got caught in a blizzard, so we were literally the only 11 guests at the entire Concord Hotel. In the middle of the night, they gave us the entire bubble to play. My mother got so excited. We were playing. She tried to hop the net, and she got stuck. All right? You wouldn't know that the police and the fire department had to break into her house in Brooklyn when she inadvertently disconnected the safety alarm that Adam and I made her get after my father passed, and they couldn't reach her for the safety check, to wake up after getting out of the shower completely stark naked to 5 firemen in full regalia and saying, "Who are you?" What you wouldn't know is how she supported my father, who had traces of PTSD after serving in an isolated watch station in the Aleutian Islands, by very quietly touching his hand when she thought he was getting nervous. You wouldn't know how, despite her true frustration over the lack of space in her Manhattan Beach bungalow, where we had 4 people and a dog and 1 bathroom and central heat after a number of years, she offered to take in 2 of my friends who also lost their mothers very young, because she had known what that experience felt like. After losing her house in Hurricane Sandy and losing almost everything and moving in with Emma and I, and then to the Knowles, she didn't mourn the loss of anything except her mother's piano and some of the photographs, and moved forward without a complaint. She also was known as the writer of obituaries for our family, both on her side of the family and my father's. And yesterday, when I was looking for the deed to the cemetery, I came across that she had written one for herself most recently. It reads like this: "We deeply mourn the passing of Professor Emerita Adele Schneider, and it was said fill in the blank. So she passed yesterday on January 10th, 2024 at the age of 99 and a half. No. Oh, is that Bowie's birthday? Oh, that's very special, Bo, right? You could tell I haven't done gigs in a long time. Jamie, you'll have to instruct me, okay? Devoted wife of the late Noel Schneider, her beloved husband of 55 years, cherished dear mother to Adam, Sandy, and me, adored and adoring grandmother of Marna and Avi, Lauren, David and Lydia, Emma and her special friend Pat, revered sister of Neil and Janet Goldberg, an esteemed aunt to many nieces and nephews and treasured by many relatives and longtime friends, distinguished academic librarian and educator at Kingsborough Community College of the City of New York, where she edited the Op Sit for many years. She was recognized in Who's Who in America, Who's Who in American Women, and Who's Who in American Education, and was honored with the Lifetime Achievement Award from Brooklyn College. She was loved by all who were privileged to know her, and her memory of her long and wonderful life will live on in our hearts as a permanent tribute and celebration. Donations may be made to the charity of her choice. But what my mother said about herself, and in some not so many modest ways, was that she was the heart of our family. Her refrigerator was filled with pics of her grandchildren and their families. She took joy in sharing her video that she made at the Jacob Byrne Film Center in tribute to my father. Oh, here we go. Nothing like a little... We're almost done, folks. At the Byrne Center that was made for my father's art, about my father's art and life when she was 95. It was truly a testament to him, but an incredible achievement for her. She never got to tell her brother Neil how she wanted him to live with her and wanted to live with her when my mother married my father, and my Aunt Sally insisted that Neil stays with them so my parents could be newlyweds. She never told you, Neil, I'm telling you now. She really loved you. Adam and I were okay in her book, but no competition from the grandchildren and great-grandchildren. She lived with them, and you'll never know how important they were to her. I am also compelled here to make mention of the special relationship she had with my daughter, Emma. As mentioned, my mother moved in with us after Hurricane Sandy, and my mother was keenly aware of what that meant in terms of Emma's place in the house and the sacrifices that she made to accommodate her. But without any complaint or resentment, Emma welcomed her, and for that, and for so many other things, my mother was truly grateful and looked at those years as one of her happiest. I could go on here, and I know it's cold, but you get the gist. My mother was special for so many reasons, too numerous to count. You will all remember her, and for those reasons, in your own way. I was lucky to have had the opportunity to spend time with her, and quality time, especially in the last few years, during and post-COVID, when her needs did start to grow and her independence a little more restricted due to her health challenges. Her biggest fear was to become dependent. Here we go, last time. And thankfully, despite only a few hours in the emergency room and on the floor of her apartment, she was spared that. To the day she died, she was her own person. It was my privilege and my honor to be her ears and her eyes when they started to fail her. I am the proud daughter of a wonderful woman and strive to continue to live her legacy. She will be missed. Her memory truly will be a blessing. And the only thing I won't miss is when she would call me for computer problems and I couldn't solve them. Rest in peace, Mom. You earned it.
Thank you. Adam? Smaller print.
couple of tough acts to follow. I didn't know my mom was going to write, and she's a tough writer to follow. I want to thank all the pallbearers who didn't know they were going to get into a life-threatening position themselves, and everybody being here when it's cold. And I told the rabbi my mother died when it was freezing cold out, which she loved the cold. My father died when it was hot as heck, and he loved the heat. So they were very different in a lot of ways, and that's just one more way. She made it to 100 years on the marker, so we'll consider she's close enough that she wins the prize, but she's not getting a letter from anybody in Washington. So a lot of the stuff I have, Tracy hit and my mother hit already. My wife and I, when I went through this thing, I had the same thing about the fireman in her house, and I had it with the rabbi's thing. I wrote him a little thing, and I said I heard being naked. My wife said, no, I don't think that's right for the rabbi to read all that stuff. I wanted to start with a laugh, so we had that anyway, so I don't have to go through that one again. Tracy mentioned about Mom's hearing problem. It had a positive side. She could sleep through anything. And that was working out fine since she was an owl. My father was a lark. She was up all night. He got up first thing in the morning. I don't know when they saw each other. They had 2 kids anyway. It worked out at some point. But it was an interesting match. It worked for them. I got my messy office habits from her. My wife will swear to the fact that my stuff is in about 20 different rooms in a 19-room house. But that was her. She had a small house. She worked on one table in the living room, dining room, whatever it was. In the middle of the night, the stuff would be all over the floor. In the morning, everything would be picked up. I think that if you asked her, she would say that word processing and computers were the best inventions ever, and she was very proud of her accomplishments at work and with the alumni newsletter at Brooklyn College, as well as opposite and all the other things that she wrote. When my dad died, she wrote an obituary that was yay long, and nobody realized how much it cost to publish it in the New York Times until after we saw the bill. But it was worth it to her, and she was a great writer, and it looks like Tracy also has some of her abilities. As everybody said before, she valued her family and her friends. It was painful for her to see her circle shrink over the years, and for other people to move away, with Neil and everybody going to Florida and people spreading out all over, but she remained close to everybody. She was blessed with mostly good health, and she rigidly follows her doctor's orders. For most of her life, she never really exercised until she got much older, and then it took it on herself to do physical training a number of times a week. She broke her hip 10 years ago and amazed everybody when she was up and about in a couple of days at Burke Rehab, and then how she continued, and she basically set the record for speed walking in a walker around the Knolls when she was up and running. She lived for her grandkids and great-grandkids, and it thrilled her to see them. Tracy, Sandy, and I were okay, but we couldn't compare. Her refrigerator would have won the prize for the most pictures stuck on it. She posted a picture of her with her grandkids on the Knolls bulletin board and beamed whenever others complimented her on the picture of her with her brood. When we shared the news of Mom's passing, the comments we got back were very similar. One said, "She always had nice things to say about everything and had such a positive attitude." Another, "Your mom was one of the most beautiful and loving souls I have ever known." Another person, "An incredible, wonderful lady, joyful, bright, optimistic, full of life, thoughtful, wise, and very kind, an exceptional human being." And that's how we should remember her. A matriarch who never sought or expected to be one, and was full of love for her progeny, friends, and family. I'm sure she's thrilled to be reunited in the next world with her beloved husband, parents, friends, and family who are no longer with us. That's the curse, I guess, of living to be that old, that you lose a lot of the people that you love. And maybe, and I stress the maybe, and I didn't know my sister was going to write about this, maybe she's with Duffy, the basset hound of her dreams. Or maybe the nightmare, if you knew that dog. And maybe he's not in doggy heaven, but he's somewhere else. May her memory be for blessing, and may she rest in peace. Thank you all.
Thank you. So I don't want to keep you out in the cold too long, and I have one hooked up with. Thank you. And the truth is, a lot has been said about Adele already, and you've definitely done justice to her memory. But I would like to share just one quick thought, if I may. So I think it's very timely that her burial is taking place today on Rosh Chodesh. This morning, Or in the prayers, it dawned upon me as I finished the Hallel prayers that we recite on Rosh Chodesh, we conclude with the words Avraham, our patriarch Abraham, Zakein. He was elderly, and Baba Yamim. He came with his days. What does it mean he came with his days? And the commentaries point out that he fully invested himself into every single day of life. Everything he did all the way. He never gave up on life. He lived every moment to its fullest. And when I was saying this prayer, I realized how appropriate it is for Adele, who became the matriarch of her family, and she truly invested herself in every area of life. I mean, how many people at 88, 89 years old, they lose everything, lose their home due to Hurricane Sandy, they have to start all over. Most of us probably despair, retreat into ourselves, and wait for that day. Adele did the opposite. She thrived, she made new friends, she made a whole new life at Knoll, was it Knollwood? What's it called? The Knolls. Made lots of friends. She truly invested herself in every aspect and every moment of life. I think it really summed it up when you mentioned to me yesterday how the doctors gave her this choice after she broke her hip. They said, you can do the surgery, which will allow you to walk again, but it's may allow you, but it's also a very dangerous surgery. You may not survive. On the other hand, if we don't do the surgery, then hopefully you'll survive, but you'll never walk again. I'd rather be dead than not walk again, because to her, every moment of life was meant to be to walk, to live, to connect, to have friends. And you saw this at work. She was fully invested in her work, took pride in her work, worked very hard for many, many years. You saw this with her friends. You saw this with the social justice and the things that she cared about. And you saw this primarily with her family, her marriage and her family, that she gave it everything she had. She took tremendous pride in it. Both her children, grandchildren, especially her great-grandchildren. She took tremendous pride and really invested herself in her family. Oh, wow. Beautiful, wow. See, that's someone who truly...
The city of David and up Herodian,
right.
on the West Bank.
Right.
At 87.
So to me, this is the definition of someone who's Baba Yamim. God granted her a gift of life, and she made sure to utilize every single day to the very last day. And it's truly a testament to our lives. I think it's very timely that we are here today on Rosh Chodesh when we recite this prayer. The Talmud says, "V'hachai yitain al libo." The living have to take to heart. Our responsibility at the funeral is to carry on that legacy, to make that commitment that we're going to walk away from the gravesite saying we will also be Baba Yamim. We will invest ourselves in our work, in the issues that we care about, in our family, in our marriages, in every area of life, until the very last breath. Is on a moment that is to be taken for granted. So with that in mind, we're going to cover the gravesite. It's a great mitzvah to participate in the burial of a loved one. It's the last physical act of love that we can do, to participate in this burial. At the same time, it's not a mitzvah that we're excited to do. So when you finish with the shovel, rather than handing it to the next person, simply put it back down and the next person will pick it up, which symbolizes the idea that we're not excited to be covering the gravesite. If anyone else would like to participate, Adam, Tracy. Sure. Not so easy. Backwards, right.
Right. Why is that?
The same reason you don't pass the shovel, again, just the midst of it, we're not excited to do.
Okay.
So do it at the back
So
of the
it's
shovel.
harder. I see. Thank you. You're providing like this?
In Dobbsbury.
Is there a big
Yep. Active, nice community. And, Sure. Right. Yeah. Yep. Do you know if they have more shovels? Do you know if they have any more shovels? And once we finish most of it off ourselves, it'll be easier. Take a lot quicker. with a prayer to say it in the Kaddish, and then if the guys want to stick around, we'll try to do as much as we can. Looks pretty deep, so we'll see. And also, I think we have to usually we take this out before we cut the wood on the side and the poles, so they must take that out first anyway. So, so we'll continue meanwhile, and then when it's finished, then we'll. Thank you.
It's good.
I think it'll be easier, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Guys, stop for a second, he'll move away the wood.
Yeah. Easily. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely not. Yeah. 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 Still better than an iPad, I'm sure. Even with her. Yeah. I also have, I have the video propped up on the, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Are you taking out the stakes? A bit higher. Okay. Okay. Okay, we're going to pause a moment before we continue filling. We're going to say one more prayer and the Kaddish, and then we'll continue filling at the end. It's Psalm 49. Lam na tsach ben ik heirach mis mar shimo zeis glab mir sine ko yesh khalet gamni od gamni ish ya khadash bi yav yam pi da ber khakh mis gagos libis vonais atle mos lasni aftach bekenoy khidasi la ma ira vneira avona kevi subeni haboit ma khelem vrei was mir salalo achle fada yifta ish leitle him kafrai bi kapide nafsham khad leila michi el aidla natsach la ira shachas ki yira khamim khamus ya khak so var yevedo os lachem khelam Kirb Mate Malayla, Mishkanais Mother Vadar, Card of Bishmays Malia Domais, Adam Bikar, Bayaldin Nimshal, Kamehemis Ninmo, Zedagum Kes, Lame Vacharem, Befiem Years to Stella, Katsain Nishal, Shatam Moves Irem, Bayir Dova Mishar in Mavake, Ever Surma Valish, Amis Volai, Achlim Yiftanashim Yadshel, Kiko geen isel a tira ki yasha ish ki yibra kavod base ki lev meit se ka hakol lo yeri dachra kavod da ki nav shi bkhav yivarech veduch ki setiv loch tav der avos avad nisach lo yiro ar adam bikar lo yavan nim shal ka behemis nidmo. Recite the mourner's kaddish. Amen. 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 Heish meid am varach lo mi me maya yisparech. Amen. 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 It's customary to take leave of the gravesite by wishing our condolences to those who are mourning. So we're going to ask Tracy and Adam if you could come to this side over here, and we're going to create a pathway. And as they walk through, we'll recite the traditional greetings. So Tracy, come down to this side if you don't mind, and Adam, sorry, all the way down. And just make a pathway facing each way. There we go. And repeat after me as Adam and Tracy walk through. When they're ready. Okay, ready? And Adam, you're going to follow behind. Please repeat after me. Hamakom, Hinachem, Etchem, Betoch, Shar, Avele, Sion, Yerushalayim. May God comfort you amongst the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. Thank you, everyone. We shall only know of happy occasions from now on. If you want to help, we're going to stay for a few minutes to try and cover at least half the grave. It'd be greatly appreciated. Everyone wants to help out. Thank you, everyone. Maybe bring one shovel over here. Move back a little bit, this way you can make room for another one over there. Yeah, move back. You want to get that over there. Second. I'm not sure if it's up. So it's not clear.
Yes, it was one of the papers in that path. It wasn't that long ago. But it's just very telling what her perception of herself. She was the family image builder. She was great. There's so much that we don't know. You can go for hours and days and talk about it. Harm, just the We got everything done except that. And literally this morning, got it together and
Yeah, sure.
you know, just yeah. So, well, I should say something. Not even go there, but you're right. It's like also my yeah, that link is quite
Oh, you got the bridge? Awesome.
all right. So yeah, we're
As long as you're close to the park.
Colleen's watching it with them
My
in
son.
North Carolina, and my mother has old dear friends in California.
That's true.
So we've been trying to.
Yes. They'll never want that.
So we got it all together. I think we're good. Yeah, we're good. We're good.
We didn't tell you to tell.
So you want to come back and today everyone's together, but not again. So yeah, they're all coming back. Actually, I'm not sure.
days, in our days, people would
Thank you.